starting with our pledge drive, we're at 108 or 285,000, which you can see is a bump up from last year, but that is on track for what we actually took in last year versus budget to actual. So these columns are all budgets, so you can kind of see how we're budgeting. Nursery school rent is a contract. We have an increase built into the contract, so that's just going to be what it is. Our open plate is the non-identified giving, and that has been increasing since we're all kind of back in the building now, as opposed to online, which is nice. And building use income is increasing as well. So these budget numbers are reflecting like actual experience is what Kathy put together. Special event income, we don't like to budget this super high. We're budgeting it a little lower than last year, but it's still significantly lower than we normally bring in. And that's going to be, you know, our rummage sale and any sort of fancy dinners we have, or the eco sale, or, you know, those kind of small things. That's what goes into there. And then I don't have the surplus carryover budgeted in, but we'll come back to it. So we'll put a pin in that, come back to it. And then we never budget like miscellaneous income, and that's like random refunds we got or rebates for something. So now onto the juicy details of the expenses. So I think you are all aware that we have had a either a 75% or 80% minister for a couple of years while we're transitioning. We have now budgeted for our full-time minister again starting next year, which is where we have been before. This looks a lot higher. Just keep in mind that this also has a $10,000 relocation coverage for a minister coming in. So that will drop back down in subsequent years. The director of religious education, Deb, and then we've got director of music, Karen. Those are what to be expected. Everybody, all staff got a 3% raise because we'd like to do more, but we need to at least keep up. Everybody should be getting raises every year. I mean, and we should just build that in every time. Congregational administrator, well, I should back up. Music director, we are now adding an accompanist. That person it's about, I don't know, $3,000, but it will help Karen being able to fully engage with the choir and directing the music when she has that person around. So that was something we added this year. Yeah, I think it's a good use of our funds. Congregational administrators, Kathy, as you know, we've talked about this. She is starting to transition. So her hours are reduced. They were this year, and they are coming up this next year to 75%. And then we have an office assistant, Beth Mayhew, at 25%, which is great. Our support staff is our custodian and nursery care attendant, and I forgot who else is in there. And that's standard. We might, so now this budget as of today, we might be moving some things around. We might take some of our support staff. Our custodian hasn't been working the full hours, and it's kind of based on his desire, this custodian's desire to do certain activities here. We might consider taking a portion of that. So he's budget at 15 hours a week, and he only really works 10 hours a week. So we're thinking of taking that extra 5 and putting it into a kitchen coordinator. So it's a similar type of duties, custodial and oversight, but we're still working out the details. So more to come. Administrative expense is going to be our office supplies and computers and phone. That's gone up a little bit, but everything's going up. But look, utilities isn't going up, that's going down a little bit. So this is taken into account. Fees are going up for utilities, but also our solar panels are offsetting some of those costs. So that's pretty exciting. The solar panels are still kind of new to us. We still don't know exactly how much we're going to save. This is kind of based on estimates and, you know, how things go, how for our summer. Building maintenance is down. Now this is down because we reduced the building reserve contribution, and I'll get to why we did that. We still have a very hefty reserve. Once we put in this year's reserve, you know, it's in the budget until we get to the end of the year. If we haven't used it for expenses, it goes into like a little bucket. And that will be at about, I think, 33,000, which is good for us. That's a good amount. So we want to keep it at that, no lower. Ground maintenance, we can never predict that because this is where the snow item lives. And we had 2 very extreme years. I mean, super snow and then no snow. So we just leave it at kind of what we budget. We're almost never accurate on that, but that's okay. That's what budgets are. It's just forecasting, you know, taking out our crystal ball and predicting things. The committees, we always just, whatever the committees pretty much want, we put in there within reason. I think we rearranged something with Green Sanctuary that we weren't able to fulfill a full request, and I forgot what the full request was, but that came down a little bit. And then this is our UUA fair share at the full amount, and you can see that's almost, yeah. So we're going to keep that going. So now I'm going to press the button where you can, in a first time in a while. I mean, we used to be at 100%, and we probably cut it for budget reasons, but yeah, let's keep that going. We've got the minister search in here budgeted. So we put in $5,000 in this year's budget, and we have $5,000 in next year's budget, and that gives us about 10. And that's about what they say you should have when you go into a search. You need to have those funds for the stuff you do. You fly people in and you put them at places and they go do a service somewhere, and so you need some money for that. So what all this does though is it puts us at a deficit. So what I did, and I don't love doing this, I don't advocate for it, I put in our projected surplus. Now this is a low conservative estimate. Kathy thinks it's going to be much higher. It still puts us at about a $4,000 deficit. This is mostly because there are 3 factors for this. One, we keep having to do $10,000 in our budget for moving costs because we've had a new minister for 3 years, but so that's one of the pieces. Search, we're not always going to have a search cost, so that's another piece. And then we're still getting used to being at 100% for UUA, so that's about $25,000. That's kind of accounting for why we're at a deficit. I'm hoping things will even out once we have more consistency and stableness with our staffing. I mean, mostly our staffing is our biggest part of the budget, and we've been, you know, moving around with ministers, moving around with our DRE and Director of Family Life Engagement and music. So we put a budget in for what we know, and then we're wrong. So that's why, see that unused staffing budget, that's quite a bit. That doesn't normally happen for us. Normally it's the same thing every time. It's a 3% raise for everybody, and we're not moving things around. So I think we're getting to the place to be stable. Now I have a microphone for, no, I'm okay with questions anytime. The people online have asked that you say your name when you ask your question. And then they can also hear when you use microphones.
Hi, I'm Jill Braithwaite, asking a question about the unused staffing budget, the 18K. Is that a carryover of this year's unused funds?
Yes,
That is a carryover.
correct. Yep, good question. That is a carryover. We also didn't use the sabbatical that we put in last year. Yeah. And I didn't put it in this year. You could see it's 0 up here. It's good to put this in and start saving for it. But we can't really this year, and we're not going to use it because the minister is going to need to collect sabbatical 3 to 4 years, Jill's saying. So we've got time to collect this. The other thing that I said, let's put a pin in it, was the building reserve. I reduced our building reserve because I saw such a big deficit there. And we had such a cushion in the reserve. Next year, when we get settled and stable again, our building reserve should go back up. And maybe we'll start doing the sabbatical, like $1,000 a year. You know, when you save up for a trip, you put a little away every month or every year so you can take a big fancy trip to Africa or something. That's kind of that same idea. So that, again, I don't generally advocate for using our surplus to manage our budget, because we should be able to have our budget be supported by our pledges and our income. But we've got some unusual circumstances, so I feel like it's probably going to be okay, and we're justified. We're very conservative in our budgeting. I think I told you all this before. The expenses, we try to project what it's going to be if they're going up, and then so we project those high, and then revenue we project usually low, because we don't want to be surprised the wrong way. So, questions? Any and all questions? And I got 2 on chat. We'll do Beth first, and then I've got 2 up here.
Beth Tannen, I'm just wondering, is the building reserve in the building maintenance line? I don't see a line for it.
No, yeah, building maintenance, correct. Yep.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, like I heard someone say about Minnesotans that we underpromise and overperform. So that's kind of
what we're doing. Okay, get to the questions online. Sherry Bridges says, in early 2023, the Board of Trustees voted to reach the UUA's recommended compensation guidelines within 2 years. The current minister's contract was therefore at the midpoint. Does the current plan to hire another contract minister include the UUA's full recommended compensation for the coming fiscal year at whatever level has been determined? And Sherry, yes. So we took 2 years to get to the midpoint. We were 10% under. So we took last year and bumped it up 5% plus the raise. And this year we did the same thing. We bumped it up 5% plus a raise. So yes, Sherry, we did. And second question. Oh, I suppose you guys could have read this. Sorry. Need to get this down. We need kitchen management support, says MGLY, whoever that is. Yes, we do need kitchen management support. I mean, there are other positions we dream about having too. It'd be nice to have a facilities manager, a tech support, volunteer coordinator. We got lots of wishes. So let's keep our pledges up and we will get all of these positions funded. Other questions? Wait, can you use a microphone, please? Thank you.
I'm sorry, my name is Therese Presley. My question is regarding in the top special event net. So last year we netted 19.5.
That's the budget.
That was the budget.
Yep, last year special event, we netted 21,000.
Okay.
This year, just through March, we are at 17,000.
Okay. And so you set the budget low there
Yeah.
at 16. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Great.
Notice how I have this paper like right here. You're impressed. We got Tom, and then I've got 2 more online, and then And then Marty, brain fart.
Tom Morgan. This director, I forgot what the initials stand for, Family Life Ministry.
Yeah,
I don't see that, is that eliminated, that position?
Director of Family Life and Span Engagement, that one. Yes, that was Katie. And we were trying something out and, it didn't quite work and she needed to move to a new position. So we are back to the DRE, but you can see the past 2 years were higher budgeted, and then that was because of that. Does that get your question? Sarah, do you wanna?
I just wanna, just to piggyback off that, sorry, this is Sarah Monahan. Just to piggyback off of that, yeah, when, one of the important functions of the Director of Lifespan Faith Engagement was to provide some of the, small group, adult ministry, that was, something that when we had a part-time minister, made a lot more sense to have, with a full-time minister who would be able to provide more of that, religious education opportunities across the lifespan. That's going to, we're continuing to evolve how that looks, so.
Jill, it sounds, Jill wants to probably, she was just gonna help answer the question.
This is Jill Braithwaite, just to add a little more to that. Katie was at 75% time and covered a lot of things in addition to RE, as Sarah said, small group ministry. She also did one worship service every month. And so this year so last spring, the decision, she resigned, and then the decision was made to fund for this year a 15-hour-a-week DRE. So that was some loss of functionality there that we've been paying a little more this year than was budgeted for guest speakers to fill that once a month slot. So all that has consequences, but just to be, yeah, it's a different position that was funded for this year than what Katie had, and hers had evolved over time, as you recall.
Right.
So I just wanted to share that context.
Thank you, Jill and Sarah, about filling in on.
And I just want to express here, way to pivot, you know? Yeah.
My, let's do Marty.
Marty Suzansky here. I think this is Alisa DeRider's very last meeting of this kind, and I want to talk about the professionalism and wonderful job that you have done in your.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sherry said the same thing. Years of service. Thank you for being our treasurer. Do you see that when that pops up? Yeah. Oh, that's right. Kathy Heltzer said she can't see me on Zoom, but if I put so the camera can see me, then I can't see, then I can't see you, but so I'm not short, the podium is tall. That's it. Other questions? I don't see any online.
This is Beth Hampton again. I just wanted to say this isn't really in our budget, but since I'm working a little basket, I want to say that we raise about $10,000 every year for local nonprofits, and we need to realize that's part of our generosity for the community, and we need nominations for this coming vote. We only have a few organizations, and so please go on the Connect and nominate.
Who knew there would be commercials during the budget? Yes, but that's good to know. $10,000 is a lot. That's really cool. Yeah. Mr. Morgan again.
Tom Morgan again. You may have covered this and I might have missed it. The director of music was 33 something and then it went down and now it's going, could you clarify that?
Yes, so the reason it's going up from last year to this year is A, the raise, and B, the company, that's the word I can't say, the piano player.
Why was it?
And why was so high? That was our time of transition and we were trying different things. I think we were paying for more out of pocket musicians, which tend to cost more. I believe this was during Courtney's tenure. Does anybody else have a recollection of why that moved around so much? And it didn't end up being that way because we ended up with a really large surplus that year. So whatever we tried to predict.
Was that the Gina Bortman years too? Gina, we had. Gina
These are my
Bortman.
These are my things.
Just a reminder, this budget, not action.
Yes, this is budget. This is what we
Okay.
predicted. That isn't what actually happened. What actually happened was, oh, I don't have it.
And we had a woman named Gina Bortman who came in and was playing quite a bit.
Okay,
Maybe we were paying her also
right.
at that time.
But again, that was the budget and I don't have in front of me what it was 2 years ago for actual. Sorry, it's all just lumped into one expense from 2 weeks ago when we did the quarterly forum. Lots of finance for you. And next week, there's another board hearing, budget hearing. After the service.
After.
Yeah, we try to switch it up. Sometimes we get more people to stay after the service and we'll maybe try to do it in the sanctuary. I better talk to the tech team to make sure somebody's available. Note to self. Oh, better get back in the camera. Anything else? We can even open it up to other things.
Hi, Marnie Suzansky. I have a message from Kathy Helser that she tried to put in did in the chat that to point out that it was a very good decision years ago to engage with the nursery school.
Oh,
That was her message.
yeah, we definitely need that income. Sorry, Kathy, that I missed that. Usually we have a Brett here or something to, oh, yep, there it is. Sorry, Kathy. We have somebody else to do that. I get spaced out. Yes, $50,000 every year is yeah, it would be I think we have the capacity to do it, to go without, but we do not at this point. I have a little fantasy that it'd be kind of fun to have more RE space again. But without having the teachers do so much setup and take down every time. I know that's a lot, but it's good. It's a good relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that. We got a repeat offender in the front here.
Please, Presley, what, can I ask our question about the parking? Should I ask here at budget? Has it come up at finance? We were told through the grapevine that maybe the parking spaces wouldn't be available during the winter. We're one of the vehicles that use that during the winter to store a car. And we were told that, well, we could be getting way more money. But as congregants who do contribute, way more than you'd get for that parking space from John Q. Public. We just wondered if that is happening, that there will not be parking available next year.
I have not heard that.
Okay.
I would check with Kathy Stinnett.
I did.
And that was where you got your information?
Yeah.
Oh, then she's the boss.
Okay. For next year.
Mike? Yeah,
Yeah, so there are several, if there's 4 or 6 that they decided they could rent them seasonally. And so we had a car we were storing. And then there's a discussion, we understand. There's a discussion about discontinuing that. So, you know, that's a.
yeah, it's not a make or break budget item. It's nothing that is on my radar. But it is nice having a garage.
Thank you.
In the winter especially. I love parking down there.
Mr. Morgan.
Tom Morgan, the budget, 2022-23 shows a $20,000 deficit.
Yeah.
What happened? Did we? I mean, how
What-
do we deal with that?
That was that crazy. That was that transitioning stuff that we were talking about with the Director of Family Life Engagement and we were transitioning quite a bit we were trying different staffing ideas.
When I say what happened is.
Oh, we're fine.
We balanced the budget is what I meant.
Well, we had a second operating campaign to make up the difference. And boy, howdy, did we make up the difference. So we came out that year second with a $45,000 surplus. So that means not only did they fundraise the deficit, but people were so generous that they exceeded it. So, yeah, that was excellent. That's why I say we have the capacity for our pledging. But you know what? This is what we do. We try things. If they don't work, we adjust and, it's good to keep fluid in a way. And this is our fluid time. I know we've had 2, transition ministers. We're going to have another one. And then as we go through this settled search process. So it's good. It's good for us because now we're like, oh, I liked this piece of that minister and this piece of that minister. And, because not all nobody in their job can provide 100% of all their job aspects. And that's why you have support or you surround yourself with people who can provide those other pieces. So, yeah, that's what we do. And that was part of what we were trying. Like we said, Katie was at 75%. That was a big jump for us. And she had been doing credentialing and schooling. And she was I forget the title, but it was a fancy, credentialed director of religious education, but it included adults and children. So we were going towards that, but now we're trying something different again. Well, we've talked about this for half an hour. Do you feel good about this? Tell your friends to come next week.
One last.
Of course. Yeah, of course. That's right. We can have conversation.
Tom Morgan, maybe you're gonna deal with this later, but how's the campaign going? The budget is $285,000. I see. Is that, are we gonna get that?
Yes, of course, we're gonna hit that.
This is Sarah Monahan, and I will be giving a pledge drive update at our service, coming up. But, at the moment, so typically we have had about, so in our church of 200 members roughly, we have about, we call them pledging units, which is households, right? And we have, about 130 pledging units. As of about a couple of days ago, when I got the last update from Kathy Stinnett, just over half of our pledging units had, made their commitment for the 2024-2025 year. And with half of our, pledging units, making that commitment, we have almost $200,000 already pledged. So I hope that
Good,
helps.
lovely. Thank you for being here, Sarah. Yeah, that was a teaser for later.
Oh,
No. Okay, well, we can sit around and chit chat. Thank you, everybody, for Zoom. Wait, I've got a Sherry Bridges question. Incoming, I'm just getting this now. Just getting this now. In the past several years, the majority of pledged income has come from our older members. Has that percentage changed? As far as I'm aware, it has not, but I do not have that information. That would be a good, Kathy and Giger, or maybe Sarah is got a look on her face for that.
I think that's a great question and such an important thing to be thinking about, in terms of our sustainability. And, you know, certainly as people age to a point, their earning potential, also increases. And so certainly I think that I'm making a bigger pledge now than I could have made 15 years ago. And of course, that means eventually people are no longer able to give large amounts as they maybe are on a fixed income or something like that. You know, and that's one of the reasons that this year, and I don't have like the demographic breakdown about where all of the pledges come from. I don't think that we track that formally. This year, I've really been focusing on new pledgers, right? Because I think that, you know, for every older member of the congregation who, you know, has given for some time and really understands the value of what we have here, and who gives very generously and supports a larger percentage of, you know, the overall budget, that as we, oh my God, is it morbid to talk about people just dying off? I mean, like, but like we are all temporary, right? And just like everything in the garden dies too, right? And so, you know, focusing on really encouraging new givers and new streams of revenue in the form of people joining our congregation and getting into the habit of financially contributing to the congregation is the way that we cultivate that sustainability. And so, you know, I don't have a percentage, but I think that it is an important question to consider. And so I think that we're on the right track in terms of attracting new people and getting people in that habit.
Yeah, right on. 12 new members last week. Woo woo. Carol asked how many members we have. I think we're at 200 and low teens. And that's not the same as households.
Right.
Right, that's members.
I just have Julie Morgan, I just have a quick comment. We get these people joining, and I wonder how many keep coming and actually join pledging. And I think it's so important to engage them as new members in whatever way is comfortable for them. And I don't know, maybe we're doing a great job at that, but maybe we're not. And I think at least we need to think about it.
Yeah, good point.
Bill Sasansky. I think this is a really exciting time because we're in a position right now where our building is paid off and we're about to get our member loans completely paid off. So, and we're also looking forward to having a full-time minister. So if you think back to 15, 20 years ago, where we were, where we are now, this is an exciting time. We have a nice building. We're able to actually do something and actually get an established, a settled minister, and I think is, again, very exciting times.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Woo. Okay, I'm going to close the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending and all of your attention to our budget. It's important for us to pay attention. Okay, goodbye, everybody online. Bye.